Good evening and welcome to Fumar Takes. This is our 253rd take, live from the Alec Bradley Lone Star studio of Azle, Texas. I'm your host, Barry Duplessis, as always, and I'm so proud, so pleased, and so privileged to be with you all tonight. Happy Father's Day, everyone. We are back and better than ever with a wonderful tradition that we've started just a few years ago with one of our guests, and now we've got another guest back on for the second straight year. We're all about traditions. We're all about milestones here on this show, and it's going to be another great evening with two of these very fine gentlemen. Two of my very favorite. I know I say that every week, but I really mean it. I really do. These two guys are some of my favorite people in the industry, and I'm looking forward to talking to them about Father's Day, how much it means. They've had some really great accomplishments in their lives as fathers and for the companies that they both represent. So we're going to talk some cigars, talk some fatherhood. It's all happening right here. And we do need to thank the people that make this show possible. So without further ado, let's thank tonight's sponsors. Tonight's show is sponsored by Drew Estate. Hey, Drew Estate has done it again. They've just announced the new Freestyle Live cigar was unveiled just a couple of days ago. The H99 Papas Fritas is now going to be available by Drew Diplomat Retailer. So check out the newest release from Drew Estate, the H99 Papas Fritas. Yeah, you've seen it in the Freestyle Live packs. If you were able to get one of those, you were able to get a sneak peek of it, but now it is going to be going out live to Drew Diplomat Retailers, the H99 Papas Fritas. Check it out. So without further ado, let's welcome in tonight's guests. This is our 253rd take. I can't believe I've gotten through this without stumbling. It's been a couple weeks since I've done this, so we'll see how the rest of the show goes. Without further ado, sponsored by United Cigars. Smoke one today and start living United. Misters Tom Lazuka and Oliver Nivaud of Asylum and United Cigars. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Man, hard to follow up that energy.
Yeah, love fantastic, man. Happy Father's Day to both of you.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Well, the energy is only matched by the dad fuel. You know, I've got this straight. You know, this is my one of my Father's Day gifts. I mean, this is about as cliche as you get. All I needed was a necktie, which I don't really wear anymore, and that would have really completed. But I was really excited this morning when I got my gifts. It was really great to be back with my boys and everything. So, how was your Father's Day, Oliver? It looks like you got some new attire as well.
I got some new attire. I did get this new Red Sox hat, a little Hawaiian theme to it, and on a great weekend with a little Yankee sweep. But it was nice. I mean, the weekend was filled with housework and catching up on stuff. I went to the office yesterday and did some work just catching up for the show coming up in Vegas. And then but yeah, Father's Day today was wrapping up. I was telling Tom before the show, it was just we painted the office up here in the last couple of weeks. I guess it's taken, by the time you tape things up, you do a coat, you do another coat, you move things out, and so it just seemed like it was a lot of honeydew list more than anything. But it was great. It was nice to be with everybody.
Nice, fantastic. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, just had a nice relaxing day today, man. Like I said, my son, we had his high school graduation party yesterday, so got up this morning, went and tore some stuff down and took tents down and got everything kind of closed out. And then both of my boys took me to lunch, so we had a nice lunch together, spent a little time, and then off they went and just kind of relaxed all day, watched a little golf, and getting ready to go out and travel again tomorrow.
Sure, you just got back just like I did from overseas, and you're already gonna hit the road again, huh?
No rest for the wicked, as they say. So yeah, back on the road, basically. Through Vegas. I'll be home a couple days after 4th of July. I got doing a little tour around the country, and then we'll be up in Michigan for a couple 4th of July events over the weekend in northern Michigan that I do every year. And and then home 2 days and out to Vegas to get ready for the show.
Crazy. I can't believe it's already here. So excited for it. So excited to see you guys there and to see what everything that Asylum and United has in store for the rest of the year, and then the months to come, hopefully in 2024 as well. So it really got me wondering, like, this is the longest my wife and I had ever been away from our children. So it was like it was right at 2 weeks exactly. Pretty crazy. But I know you guys travel quite a bit, and Oliver, I know this is that was kind of status quo for you growing up too. I know your dad traveled a lot as
Yeah.
well. But how long have you guys gone without seeing your kids? What's the longest road trip or trip that you guys have been away?
Yeah,
Well,
for me, it's been probably about a month.
God.
Yeah,
mm,
but a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, for me a little bit shorter, but it's been just under 2 weeks was probably the longest that I was away. I
Wow.
take some crazy flight, and Tom, I'm sure you do too, but I take some crazy flights, only to get back in time. So I'll kind of chop up some of the trips, and if I have an event, say on a Friday, I'll try to get a 6 a.m. flight out. One time I know, timing wise, it took like a 6 a.m. flight out. I landed at 11 because I knew that meant by the time I got my luggage, got home, I'd be home by noon for a 12:30 game.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
you kind of do some crazy stuff like that.
for sure. Like I was a little, concerned if you get layovers or connections. Like I was leaving Albania, and the 5:30 a.m. flight, up at 3 in the morning
Yeah.
to fly to Rome, have a layover, get delayed 2 hours, and finally make it home at walk in my door about 6 o'clock. But you know, you just got to take those early flights because it gets worse as the day goes on. So just make it home. You do it. Just, red eyes, whatever you got to do to get home for what you need to.
Yeah.
You flew so Rome to back to Michigan direct, or did you have another connection?
No, but right into Detroit.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
Man.
wasn't too bad. Like nine and a
Yeah,
half
but
hours.
then you got the jet lag and stuff.
Yeah, you go over there for 2 weeks, and the first week you battle the time change, and then you finally get adjusted, and then you come home and you're all
You're
screwed
wiped
up
out
again.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I was fading pretty good on Saturday afternoon, but a couple adult beverages picked me up and got me back.
This is probably the best experience I've ever had with jet lag thus far. When I got there, like I stayed up till like 2 in the morning. So it was like, 8 or 9 back here. So it was
Yeah,
like I went
Right.
to bed super early, but I was already exhausted from a really long day anyway. So I was like, okay. Because like the few times I've gone overseas, I've always like taken a nap, and that's always fucked me. And I was like, I'm not gonna do it this time. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give in. I don't care. And it ended up working out. So
Yeah. Going there, you have to battle through it and stay up, and then coming back is usually a little bit easier. But that's more for me. Like I haven't, Tom, you got a bigger territory than I got to cover. We haven't hit Europe yet, so we're still,
yeah.
we're still growing with that. The younger buck in
Yeah,
the
that's
in the
all right.
field, but yeah, eventually get over the pond and make some of those trips.
Yeah, it's fun seeing the different cigar cultures. Like the traditional, like the UK and Spain, Italy, Germany. They've had the cigar culture for a long time. So the last couple of years, I've got to spend some time in the Eastern Bloc, like Romania and like I said, Croatia and Albania this year, and to see the cigar culture growing there has been pretty fun, because it's definitely really a newer culture to those countries. So it's been a lot of fun to kind of go and get the questions, and people really want to learn about the products, and they're not so Cuban driven markets either. So it's really nice to go to those new countries and visit.
that's awesome. Well, I know you guys have already kind of lit up, so I wanted to light up a cigar as well here. So I've got a couple of choices. And I wanted to put it to you guys. Normally I ask a guest, and usually when I have multiple guests, I always give someone the honor. But I'm maybe jet lag is setting in. I couldn't remember who picked last year, so I'm going to ask you gentlemen to work together a little bit on the consensus here. So I'm not trying to start a feud here, I promise. But
No,
I do have
listen.
even numbers of odds both sides. So representing United Cigars, I have the classic Firecracker and a United Maduro Toro, which I've been smoking a lot, as you guys have known, following me on Instagram the last few days. We'll be talking about that here in just a little bit. And then also have the Asylum Meshuggah, which was the exclusive you did last year for Cigar Dojo's 10th anniversary there, Tom. And then another collaboration between you guys. This was from, I'm still working my way through it, believe it or not. This is from the first Stadium series, which we'll be talking about.
Oh,
Which is
yeah.
the unnamed Stadium series.
There we
But
go.
yes, the collaboration between United and Asylum.
Go with the Meshuggah.
The Meshuggah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because you've been United out. You've been smoking United quite a bit.
Oh man, just the beginning, man. We got more days of this.
So
We got more days of this.
Yeah, so cleanse your palate a little bit with an Asylum.
All right, here we go. All right, you good with that, Tom? I'm gonna light up the Meshuggah.
Yeah. Listen, man, I don't sweat the little details, man. We're both on here and want to be on here, so there's no offense taken. Whatever you choose to smoke for me, man.
All right, here we go. This I've had a few of these, and I've had I still have a couple saved back and everything. This was a really cool project that you did, Tom, with the boys over at Dojo. I was disappointed that they didn't go with the 60 gauge. They went with a little under,
Yeah.
But still, nonetheless, a pretty good blend and everything. Was that a fun project to team up with? Was that your first kind of micro collaboration? I mean, I wouldn't call your collaboration with United that in the same class. That's different.
Yeah. Yeah, really kind of a small batch. I mean, obviously we've done a number of ones for some of the retail stores. Maybe they're 20, like we just did one with the we did an Aroa for the Newmans at Cigars and More in Illinois for celebrating their 25th anniversary. So, we do a few of them, but this was our first one with the dojo, and we had a good time kind of going through it and figuring out what they wanted to do and getting them some blends, and so yeah, it was a good experience with those guys.
Awesome, fantastic. What's the smallest run that you guys have done, Oliver? Have you guys done something like with like one of your lounges, like the guys down here in Industrial or anything like that? Partner up on a small run of anything?
We haven't done a small run, but we've done just some things on the selected side, because that's our Atabay lounge. But I mean, the smallest run we did was actually this year with working with Rojas on the Street Taco Elote Firecracker. And that was 16 count boxes, limited down to maybe did 300 on that. So that was a really short run, but kind of testing the waters for Cinco de Mayo, and working together for the first time. So that's that was a fun project though.
How many it seemed like, and maybe I'm just misremembering here, Oliver, it seemed like there were more firecrackers in the last, I guess, like 12 18 months than years past, because usually it's been like one or two a year. It seemed like there were more this year. Am I just misremembering? No.
Yeah, you're on. So that was, I think, basically because I just starting with United in 2016, late 2016. That was the first real collaboration where it kind of started, and bringing it into the United portfolio. It was really once a year, and then there would be a relaunch for the Firecracker that was launched in June for the 4th of July. So after that, I just for me in the portfolio, I really fell in love with the United, obviously the flagship, and then the Firecracker. And the Firecracker turned into just a little pet project, because we could do more collaborations with it. So, we've done in the last, just this year alone, we did the with Mickey Pegg and Frank over at All Saints with the St. Patrick's Day firecracker, and then the Rojas this year, and then we just did the EPC Pledge firecracker. We just no. Well, they did the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance, yeah.
We had the Pledge firecracker
Okay.
that we just started shipping to retailers last week. So that'll hit the shelves actually started hitting the shelves already on Friday, and then for the 4th of July that'll be the on the shelves and ready for everybody. But and then we'll do the last run of the Foundation firecracker this year, and the Bandolero in the fall.
Fantastic. A lot of firecrackers in 2023. It's a really great series. It's a really great series. I just know one day we're gonna see the 90 gauge firecracker, right, Tom? That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we might have to change the name from firecracker though.
That's the cherry bomb or something.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a big boy.
Yeah. What's that big bomb? It's like a 5,000-ton bomb or something. The military uses. They got a name for it. We could probably use something like that. Forget what the name is. But mother of all bombs, or MOB or something. I don't know what they call it. Something.
Yeah, keep the same length. We'll go 3.5 by 90, and we'll see
3.5 by 90.
That looks like.
Well, we all know Coop would be all over it, so it'll be fine. It'll be fine, Tom. You'll have at least one customer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I mean, you kind of changed the. I'll do credit. Tom, you started to launch Asylum early or mid, not mid 2000, 2010, 11,
12, 2012. Yeah.
But do you remember, remember back, and I was smoking, the Robustos at 50 ring gauge, and it was like, in your hand, you're like, man, this is so big, this is so massive. And then anything bigger was just, more that novelty side. And then I think you just, bringing it to market and doing what you did with the blends, I mean, changed everyone's perception. And, obviously those are premium good cigars, and a 50 ring gauge now is like
it's tiny.
It's like one of my slowest selling sizes. It's crazy, right? We're so off. And you had obviously like Ernie Carrillo, who obviously kind of brought the 60 ring gauge to play, and really was the first guy pushing the 60 ring gauge, and everyone thought that was crazy. And again, when we launched, there were a couple other, Nick Perdomo did what's his called, the Immenso, years ago, and it was kind of before its time. And then there was like the Chief, but it was 18 inches, and very novelty at the time. But and then when I came in, when me and Christian started this, it was you had JFR, and who switched to Lunatic now, and you had the Grand Habanos with George Rico, and they were doing 70s, but I just kind of saw that they were always out of stock. And so I said, Christian, I want to, do these big ring gauges, man. And he's like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And I'm sure I've told this story.
I know it's still great though. Here we are laughing about it, but 10 plus years later.
He's just like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Like he's more traditional. And I said, well, I already ordered the bands and stuff, so we got to order the molds, and said, all right, we'll do it. And here we are. We'll be 11 years in a couple of weeks, and
wow.
July 2nd will be our 11-year anniversary, and still going strong, man, and amazing to see the big ring gauges in the European markets. I mean, they're working for us, Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that, Tom, but let's dive into that. What's tonight's major point, which is always brought to you by the people. Yep, Cigar People, the people who know everything about a lifetime of service. Protocol Cigars is more than just pool parties and good times. Well, maybe it is. But behind the fun is a motivation for service, a motivation for giving back, from the original Protocol Blue to the latest release in the Lawman series. Phoebe Cousins' Protocol has always been about honor, passion, and yes, the people. It's what their life's work has been and always will be about. Power of the P, Protocol Cigars. We're going to put a pin in talking about the European travel real quick, because I want to bring up, I was at Westminster Abbey just a couple of days ago, and that's where 3,000 people are buried there. That's how crazy this is, including, yes, one Sir Robert Peel, who's the father of the modern police force, which of course the Protocol guys have a cigar named after, and I took a picture of that, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I forgot that he had been buried there. Of course, it's easy to forget 3,000 people, so buried at
Right.
Howard Halls. But yeah, Tom, that was something I wanted to ask you though. Kind of the last thing you brought up there was you like you said you guys have expanded into the European market and everything. So the bigger gauge is picking up there too in a emerging cigar culture as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and Germany, France, I mean, the big ring gauges sell very well there for us too, so even in more traditional markets, they've done well. So yeah, it's obviously there's a lot of changes in the European markets recently with the Cuban supply issues and shipping everything into Asia, and so we've been very fortunate to capitalize on that and really start expanding in the European markets, and so there's lots of opportunity there.
That's great. I can personally vouch for the Cuban prices getting out of hand. I was in a shop, and that was ridiculous. Which made I mean, like, the prices for like your cigars, Tom, were higher than what I'm used to paying in the American market for sure.
Yeah.
But they were still not even close to the Cuban prices. So that was pretty insane. Like, that was just,
Yeah, man. Like, well, in the UK, it's weight based. So obviously, like, the 70s don't do as well there as they would in some of the other countries, because it's like 63 euros for a cigar we sell for $11 here. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's
So yeah, so the weight based doesn't do well for the big ring gauge asylums.
yeah. Like we were talking about, Tom, like with Nick Perdomo's Immenso, and then obviously with Ernie like putting out the inches and stuff like that, and like you mentioned George Rico too. But you kind of normalize big gauges in a lot of ways, you know. But Oliver, you're not you guys are really adventurous too with some of this stuff. We already talked about the firecracker, which is, it's a far cry from a 70 by 7, but I mean it's not typical. It's, you got the unique wick and everything, so it's a unique smoking experience. Not to mention the Altalo cigar that you guys put out a couple years ago. Is that still going in production, by the way?
That's not in production right
Okay.
now. That was a little test, little fun project to make a cigar with only stems to see what could come of it. And it was, I mean, it was kind of, mixed, all honestly, mixed reviews, because you'd have some, and I was even, on the fence with it too when I would smoke it, because there was, but it had like this peatiness to it, but you just had to really be ready for it. And I think, working with only stems, which sounds crazy, construction wise, I think, I think we nailed it. The flavor profile it was unique and interesting, and it's definitely a project that we're kind of playing with and seeing what happens, in the future. But yeah, not a regular production right now.
What's been the most fun thing about it, kind of experimenting with some of those fun things? Because I mean, you did the Lancero under the United line too, which you wouldn't consider, like, again, really extreme, but it's the opposite of what Tom's used to dealing with, even though he's got a Lancero too. But but as far as like some experimenting with some of these blends, the partnerships that you guys have done for the firecracker and everything, how have, I'm sure it's fun, but like, I mean, how would you characterize it and the challenge to go along with it too?
Yeah, so I think for for us on the United side being still on the younger side and capturing some more more of the market share and understanding the the blends and the brands, we've in the last couple years we've done a lot of changes in just the visual of the cigar. So some packaging changes just to update everything, because you have some brands like La Giana coming up to another anniversary, but a cigar that's been around for nearly 30 years, and so that needed a facelift. United needed a facelift. So there have been a lot of changes on that aspect. So I think the the fun part on my end is kind of taking some of these brands and just kind of putting a little booster shot in them. United just went through a reblend
Hmm.
because we were having some issues with the Brazilian Matafina, just sourcing it and price wise, lower yield on that plant, so we don't you don't get as much. It's a little higher cost, and then taking that cigar from the box press to the round, which is usually usually the opposite, because a typical cigar is in the round, and that's how it's launched. And there's some cigars on the market that do very well in box press. But when I was playing around with that blend, and at the time, the first box press that we experimented with was the Aladino when we did the cigar bar, and then we did the silver bar with Rocky. So box pressing a round cigar, it just kind of made me think about doing United in the round, because again, for me, just in the feel, the mouth feel of it, round is just something that I gravitate to more than a box press, and wanted to see what that was like. So I think again on the United side, it's really kind of changing and adapting to the market, and updating some things, and changing some of the products around has been the best part of it.
Yeah, we've talked about the rebranding that you did with United. It's exceptional job you did with the United brands. I've loved it. I was going to ask though, like what you kind of just touched on a little bit there. Um as far as the challenge of it, but like what was the why, I guess, behind changing it from the box press to the round? You just because it was just a little bit more normalized. Is that, if I understood you
Y-
correctly?
y- Yeah, a little bit, and so that it was really the running out of the Brazilian Matafina that was in the
Okay.
box press. So that was changing what what the flavor profile was on the box press. So when we had to kind of go back to not necessarily square one, but I just at the time I wanted to see what we could do. So just going down to the factory, we work with with Jose Dominguez at the Tabacalera Mahia factory. So I was able to really get my hands on different tobaccos with them, and testing out some different stuff. We in the United in the round now we're using Dominican broadleaf, and that was just really rich, really hearty. And I wanted to kind of soften that with this tobacco from Quisqueya, and had a little sweetness to it. So just kind of working with with different blends, and that's what we ended up with. And the reasoning was really just the not necessarily inability, but just the consistency of getting some other tobaccos that were in the box press. Made me play around with new blends, and like I said, that when we saw what the difference was between a round cigar going to a box press, well, I just did the opposite, and I think it worked out. Worked out well. It's been well received so far. We really just started shipping that last month, and it's been going well. So at the show, we're expecting some good things from it.
Really have been enjoying the Maduro the last few days that I've been smoking. We're going to talk about that campaign in just a second, but I wanted to kick back to Tom. Uh, as far as like changes in your portfolio too, we were talking about the story that you said that you've told a couple of times about how Christian told you it was the dumbest idea in the world to go with these big gauges and everything. But another challenge that you've kind of stepped into, and I'm really interested to get your take on this, Thomas. The last few years, it kind of started with the 7, the cigar that you celebrated with your 7th anniversary, which,
Yeah.
you've heard me say on the show, it's the best cigar you've ever made.
Thank
It
you.
was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. But you're starting to, I guess that was kind of the first dip into the, I don't know how to
Like
characterize it. I'm not really
limited edition type stuff, I guess.
limited edition, but yes, and then like also kind of I'm not a fan of the ultra premium space. I'm not a really big fan of the term, but that upper echelon, the pricing and everything like that. And of course, all of us have seen kind of prices gone up on everything, not just cigars and everything. But you've really kind of started really taking some really cool risks with your portfolio, and going after these more rare tobaccos and everything, and that kind of has led to the big release this year, which is the excuse me, Tom, make sure I get the pronunciation right, the sensorium, is that correct? Is that how you say it?
Yes, sensorium. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that project, because that's something that's really exciting. That this is a tobacco that Christian's dad has been growing or trying to grow for 40 years and just hasn't gotten some really great yield out of it. But talk a little bit about the decision to kind of break it out and then also put it into an Asylum product, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And we've started some of our own farms also, outside of the family farms, because I just think we need to expand in some different ways, experiment a little more. And, so we're using that Pinorino seed, and it's something that nobody really grows. And again, Christian's father's messed with it for many years. And, for us, again, this is a small project. We're keeping it very limited, trying to keep it to 100 accounts worldwide. So it's not like something we're looking to mass produce a million cigars a year or anything like that. It's very much a small project, but to also, let people know that we're not just a price point cigar company. We've worked very, very hard for many years to put out good products, and a lot of days we get well, the big ring gauges are just value products and things like that, and so for myself, I don't take offense to it, but I want people to understand that we've been doing this a long time, and we can develop outside of just big ring gauge cigars, and we can make things that are rare. We can make things that are different than what the market's doing, because we've always tried to find the spots that really are not existing. You know what I mean? Like the ogre was a barber pole candela, nobody had one. We came out with the ogre, and that's a great brand for us. So we always want to find those unique things that are a little different. And obviously the price point of this cigar, you were supposed to have a package sent to you, so you should have had a couple of those today for you, but I'm gonna have to talk to the office in the morning to see what happened, because I shipped
The mail has been really bad overall.
I had them shipped out, so you would have had a few for today.
Oliver sent me a package. I think it took I got the email that he sent it, so he wasn't bullshitting me. He sent it, and it took a long time. I think it's honestly the mail, Tom. So yeah, no, that was promised to me. I'm sure it's on its way. So
yeah, so sorry they didn't make it, but it just it's fun to really just kind of rebrand. I mean, we're cranking along with our normal production stuff. The big ring gauge stuff is working, and we did the 90s, and we have the Asylum 11 coming out, shipping soon. And then we'll be displaying we don't have the blend done yet, but we always kind of display the new package. So at the show, you'll see the new packaging for the Asylum 12 for next year. But this project was just something we really wanted to do. It's rare product, and the retail is expensive. It's $50 for the 1118, $60 for the 60 by 6, but it's absolutely worth it. I mean, it hits the palate right. It's got body, it's got spice. It's a really, really great blend, balanced blend. that I think you'll really enjoy. I think it'll hit your palate very well, Bear.
Mhm.
But I felt much better when I seen Oliva launch the $300 cigar this week. So I was like, shit, man, 50, I'm good.
Maybe I
Oliva's going
undersold
to
myself a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, Oliva's going after 300. I said, okay, I don't feel so bad now.
Yeah. I think and that was kind of my point. So I was like, I think what the 7 proved, and then the subsequent releases afterwards, like even the PCA exclusives are in that like near $20
18,
price
yeah,
point. Yeah,
yeah.
$18 to $20 price point module, depending on what state you're in and all that stuff, taxes and jazz. But I think what you proved with that was like it's we can make a big cigar that tastes phenomenal and is worth that kind of that dictates that kind of price point. And when something's worth it, it doesn't matter what the name on the label is. It doesn't matter how recognizable it is. And this is going to be a great transition point back to Oliver here for a second. It doesn't matter what, you don't have to have a name like Oliva. You don't have to have a name like Davidoff or something like that. It can be a phenomenal cigar. And if it is, then it's worth it and stuff. So yeah, no, I'm excited about trying them.
And we originally did that because, if you're an everyday cigar smoker and you smoke $7-8 cigars, but you want to celebrate, you want to, an accomplishment, a wedding or whatever it is, something at work where you want to treat yourself. The big ring gauge smoker had nowhere to go. I mean, you had very few options.
Mhm.
And, so when you wanted to celebrate, but you like a 70 ring gauge, you just smoked a regular, one of our regular production cigars or a regular lunatic or a CEO flathead or something like that, if you like the big ring gauge. So, I wanted to create something for, people who really like the big ring gauge to celebrate with, to have something that's in this, premium, ultra premium side, where they can, where it's packaged beautifully, they can get a great cigar and just celebrate with something different than just the everyday Asylum.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Like I said, I'm really excited to try it. And it's something that's really I think it's gonna change the market again for big gauge cigars. That's kind of my hot take is I really think that the precursors to it leading up to it, Tom, and everything. I'm feeling it, man. So I mean, obviously you are too. Otherwise you wouldn't be taking this risk, but I'm feeling it too. But I mean, Oliver, just to go back to you, like this is a space that you had to, with selected tobacco. I mean, this was a challenge you feel, well, now it's home, but I mean, at the time it was probably very difficult. Talking about a brand that, not many people had heard of. And now Atabey is so, and Byron for that matter it's so out there, like with you guys releasing the Alfonso last year. It wasn't, hey, here's another expensive cigar. It was like, here's the next chapter. That's what it felt like. How has that gone over the last year with this newest line from you guys on the selected side?
Yeah. So, and humbling that you say it's, that's kind of home, on the selected side, because when I, again, starting in 2016 with United, Atabey and Byron had kind of been on the market for a few years. It was in the United portfolio in 2012. It was on the market, prior to that on the West Coast. But when I started, and not literally, but I mean, I was almost laughed out of, a lot of retailers because the name was unknown and the price point was something that, and the two specific names came up almost every single time I was in the shop, and it was like, that's Padron, that's Davidoff, those are the high price, we don't need to sell this, we don't want this. Like I'm one that's more about building a company on family and relationships, and the ones that said that in a nice way and nice as they could, I still want to do business with them. Others that really made it offensive, they have to work towards building something, because at the end of the day, you have to be happy with what you're doing, and I want those relationships to to continue and to grow. So being in that space originally was a big challenge. And I think, what, for us, what happened was the cigar itself really just kind of stood its ground. So I really just introduced it to people. I thought it was a fantastic cigar, and I was the same way when I first sat down and learned about Atabey, coming from the Las Vegas market, where we were selling Macanudo Portofinos on the cigarette hostess trays for $20 a piece, but we had a captured audience, so they had to pay that. But that was offensive, and that was a high price. So we've kind of built, and United kind of grew with more that luxury line, and now when we're kind of introducing our more approachable lines to the retailers, the ones that even carried and are carrying Atabey and Byron, they're surprised that we have these other lines. And when they look at the portfolio, we're 20 lines deep, 200 plus SKUs, and we can offer something from $2 all the way up to 75. So jumping into the that, and again, that, I guess, that luxury higher end price point, it can be a challenge, because people will definitely judge the cigar not only on its smokability but price point. I mean, there are a lot of reviews out there for Atabey and Byron that will say it was a good cigar, and it could have been our number one, but based on the price point, blah 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 blah. So the price point's a big factor. So yeah, I mean, Tom, you're jumping in, and I mean, you know what you're doing. You're excited, but it's a different it's a different market. But look, the pool's massive. So and I can't even say we welcome everybody, but it's I think it's good. It's good for the market. It's good for manufacturers. It's good for the consumer, the retailer. Everyone's much more educated on the consumer side, be it at any level. People are looking for quality, so they'll pay the price if the tobacco and the construction justify it. But there's definitely a market for it. And and it's funny, because even though we have part of that segment in our portfolio, what we did over the last couple of years was actually we transitioned the other way, right? We brought out the La Mezcla Cubana box of 50, and those retail for $5.99. And then we have a large ring gauge as well in our high tower. We have a 6x60, a 7x70, right in the $8-9 range. And then, but on the other side too, we just came out with Red Anchor last year, and we're launching 3 additional sizes this year, right around the $20 to $30 range. So we're a little all over the map, and like I said, something for everybody. But it's an interesting segment of the market when you start going past that $20 range.
Well, I mean, you're going to have that kind of that spread too, Tom, at this point. Like once Sensorium kind of hits the shelves and everything, you're going to have that almost that not $2, but I mean, what's your lowest price cigar now?
Our bundles, the Schizo bundles, are $4.
$4, yeah,
somewhere in there, yeah.
So 4 to 60. So yeah, you're going to be across that space too, which is that really allows so many on both y'all's ends. That creates so many opportunities for so many people to get introduced to everything, which is cool.
Yeah, and I look at it this way. Again, we have brands out there that have been established for long periods of time, like Davidoff and Padron and the Fuentes and Opus. But if you look back, Padron didn't start out with 1926s and 64s and limited editions. They had their cafeteria cigars, 1000 series. Fuente didn't start with Opus X. You know what I mean? So you build up until till your company can till you have a brand, and then you're able to experiment in different ways. And again, we're just trying to do our thing in our way, and again, like Oliver said, they started the opposite direction. They started at a more ultra premium price, and now they're introducing because they want to expand their market, right? So we're all doing things to expand our market, make sure you know, we have something for everybody, whether it's flavor wise or price point wise, you know. So uh you know, it's great. I mean, you know, to me, the end consumer has such a variety and new things that that they can like, and you know, we hope they stick. We hope people enjoy them and understand where the passion and you know why we made the cigar. You know, why we're not just doing it to make it a $50 cigar. We wanted to come out with something that's unique and different from anything we've done before. So you know, that's our goal, and we continue to try and you know, find new markets for us, you know.
What I mean that, and that's what's really great about the lower end market too, is it kind of keep what, you know, quote unquote keeps the lights on a little bit. Because I mean, what do you guys on the lower side? What in terms of volume? Maybe not actual dollars and cents at the end of it, but volume. It's got to be what, 3 to 1 compared to like the next highest SKUs in y'all's portfolio, like your lower end stuff, like 3 to 1, 4 to 1.
No, not for us.
Okay.
You know, for me, the the 770s are our number one seller out of everything in
And
our
volume, that's volume too.
volume.
Oh wow.
Yeah, everything. So you know, 770s for us. Again, we have the blessing of being branded, right, and as a big ring gauge company, but sometimes it hurts us in the sense that people don't always realize we make other sizes. We make traditional sizes, you know. But yeah, for us, it really is amazing. I mean, to go through our portfolio and see that the 770s are the number one volume size cigar that we make is
It
crazy.
outsells the schizos and everything. Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
But
And our
Yeah,
schizos are a higher price point for the mixed filler, you know. You know, we don't so much compete in that marketplace well with the quorums and things like that, because our price is quite a bit higher. But you know, we still do a lot of those cigars. You know, we still make 1 million plus schizos a year, just even though they're higher price point in that market. So because I think the quality is very good. I mean, the Maduro is a fantastic cigar, you know. uh for the price point, it's hard to beat.
yeah. What were you gonna say, Oliver?
yeah, yeah. No, I was just gonna say, I think you know, and Tom, with you know, with your lines too, you're, you know, it's not like a you know, big discount cigar. So when you're looking at, you know, when you're looking at some cigars in your portfolio that are on the lower end, you know, for numbers wise, like what, you know, what do you sell more of? And if it's not a, you know, heavy discount, you know, catalog online product, that volume isn't going to be as massive, you know, on because on the retail side, you know, we move, you know, some of our classic, which is our bundle, you know, lower end cigars, the volume's moving. But you know, what I was saying earlier is that the consumer is much more educated, and they're on the retail side, they're looking for more of the quality. They have their everyday cigar, and then you still have the guys that are still coming in and grabbing bundles or grabbing, you know, boxes of something that's a little on the lower end. But you know, for us, um, you know, you know, our higher ends, when we're going through, you know, quite a bit of the I mean, you know, the production of Atabey and Byron, and you know, fortunately for us as well, Nelson's increased that, you know, that production, where it started out with Atabey, just like it did with Alfonso Añejo, which we launched last year, and the Grand Selection, which we'll launch this year. They started at 200 boxes per size, so it was a very small production, but that just goes through, and then over the years, he's increased everything, which is, you know, to our benefit, and you know, everyone's benefit, because we can get out more. But you know, stick wise, as long as, I think, you know, you keep true to what your, you know, your mission is, and you know, it's not just dumping out product, you know, as fast as possible. You want quality out there, and you know, and then everything else will fall into place.
Awesome. All right, gentlemen, we're gonna take a quick break here, and break it up with one of our favorite segments here that has become here on LS Fumar Takes, is our United Cigar Presidential Trivia segment. So let's
So,
don't worry, guys, it's multiple choice. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun here. So of course, this segment is always brought to you by United Cigars, featuring La Giana Havana, distributors of Jose Dominguez, Bandolero, Garofalo, the Firecracker, and the highly acclaimed Atabey and Byron, and now Alfonso lines from Selected Tobacco. Smoke once a day and start living united. So this question is obviously about presidents. This is something that Oliver and I came up with. And has been a huge hit. We do it on this show, and then we obviously do it on Cigar Coop Primetime Special Edition, where Coop comes up with crazier and crazier questions to try and stump me on it. But I get to turn the tables on my guests on my show. But I make it easy. I give everyone multiple choice. So this is about Father's Day. Shocker. We're celebrating Father's Day, and we're going to get into some more father stuff here in a little bit. But this one's pretty should be an interesting point of discussion. So, which U.S. president turned Father's Day into a national holiday? Was it A, Abraham Lincoln, B, Richard Nixon, C, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, or D, Calvin Coolidge? Which U.S. president turned Father's Day into a national holiday?
Tom, you want to take a crack?
No, cool. Completely guessing, but I'm gonna go with who was B? Sorry,
Richard Nixon was B.
B, and then what was Lincoln, Nixon,
Roosevelt,
Coolidge.
Franklin Roosevelt, Coolidge. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Roosevelt.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt is Tom's guess. All right, Oliver, you got a guess? Or you gonna guess the same? Or?
Yeah, no. No, I'm gonna have to guess something different, just to make it fun. Yeah, it's a complete guess. Let's say, how long is Father's Day? I think Father's Day's been around that. Maybe it hasn't been around that. I'd say Nixon. I'll go with Nixon.
Richard Nixon is the correct answer. 1972.
Complete bullshit. You set up the segment with Oliver, man. No, I'm kidding.
I was trying to think because I was like,
damn it, Oliver.
I would have given you guys a hint too, so it would have eliminated one of the people off of it. If I should have asked if you guys wanted to hit, because I was fully prepared to give you guys a hit. It was actually the first celebration, the first recorded celebration of Father's Day was in 1908. It was by a young woman who was the daughter of a Civil War general. Her name was Sonora Smart Dodd, in West Virginia, no less. But Calvin Coolidge was like the first president to actually talk about Father's Day, but it was actually signed and made into a national holiday in 1972 by Richard Nixon. So Lincoln was Thanksgiving, for those at home who want to talk about national holidays signed into.
Oh, that's a good one, because I love Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So while the Civil War was going on, emancipation, all that other stuff, let's make Thanksgiving a national holiday. That's right. Let's do that.
Hell yeah.
Take a day off.
Yeah. So but here's an interesting stat for you guys. Okay. I'll give you guys a hint on the top 30 holidays celebrated in the United States. Okay, the top 30. Okay. Do you think Father's Day is in the top half or the bottom half of that list?
Bottom.
The holidays just celebrated.
Yeah,
are you
the most celebrated. Yeah, like.
And how are you quantifying that? Are you saying dollars spent?
Oof, that's a really good point. I would say just I'm not sure the quantification mark on the list that I looked at. I looked at a couple of lists. I'm not sure what the quantifying point was. The way I'm guessing is just like most recognized, most like, something is done on that day. Probably money, economics has to go into it as well. I would assume.
I'd have to, because I mean, if you say top 100, I didn't even know we had that many holidays. So I'm going to have to say top.
Well, it's top 30. I said in the top 30 is in the
top 30.
Yeah, top 30.
I heard top 100. I'm like 100.
Top 30. So is it in the top 15 or the bottom 15?
So I'd say the top 15.
Yeah, I think the bottom 15.
Yeah, it's actually the 20th. Tom's right. It's the bottom of 15.
Wow.
Any guesses if
No
on
respect.
Mother's Day? On Mother's Day, is Mother's Day on the top of the 15 or the bottom of the 15?
So Mother's Day is probably above that.
Yeah, I think Mother's Day's on the top because I think like I said, we mothers get fancy gifts, we get coffee mugs and
Yeah,
hats.
coffee mugs and ties. Yeah. It is.
Oh, in fact,
Mother's Day is actually in the top 10. Mother's Day is
wow.
Yes, Mother's Day is 6 in most
What
lists I
is
saw.
Christmas number 1?
Christmas number 1. Christmas
Halloween or Valentine's Day number 2?
The Halloween's number 6. It's just in front of
Number
Mother's
6.
Day. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's pretty high.
Yeah.
Is Taco Tuesday in there?
It should be, but no, it wasn't in
So
that.
yeah, actually, I was gonna say
Arbor
Tom,
Day beats out Father's Day. How about that shit?
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. In both lists, in all 3 lists I found. Arbor Day.
Freaking plant a tree, bro. Plant a tree.
Amen. Yeah, Tom, I was gonna say because Father's Day you don't spend as much. Bear got a coffee mug. I got a hat. Did you have to pay for your lunch, or was that paid for?
No, my kids actually bought the
Oh,
lunch.
they did.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
all right. I was gonna go, all right. You're going.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
you're
gave me
going in
the
the
look
negative.
like, Dad, you want to
Right.
take care of this? I said, no, not today.
Yeah. There you go.
Man. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
crazy, just crazy that is this.
So crazy that Arbor Day beats out, Father's Day.
That was the
Although
common one.
that was kind of a big thing growing up. I remember in school, like that was, we were talking about it. We went outside, we, planted a pine tree. And so maybe, I guess, because of the towns and cities.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe, I think one of the factors, I don't want to get too political, but, there's, in today's world, there's a lot of fatherless homes,
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
And
so it could
yeah, I'm
be a
sure that has
factor.
something to do. I'm
Yeah.
sure that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I wonder if it was in the top half, at the beginning, whenever that list was created. Maybe it was in the top half and we've just lost some ground. So we got some work to do as dads.
Yeah, maybe we're good in the 70s,
Yeah, exactly.
we were like disco back then, but
Right.
now we're out of style.
I'm gonna have to talk to my kids.
Yeah.
Well, my joke was about Nixon was that, a lot of people thought Nixon was really self-serving, obviously with the Watergate scandal and everything, not to get too political either, but he actually did the Father's Day was a purely selfless act because at that point his kids were already grown. He wasn't looking to get gifts from kids at that point. So.
Hey, Bear, sorry, Bear, let me ask you a question real quick because you have this like savant-esque like knowledge, and I know you were a history major, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what kind of pushed you into that, into history and just presidential knowledge? And because I mean it's pretty amazing when Coop asks you a question. There's no A, B, or C, and you're just breaking it down. It's not even like a one word. Oh, I think it's Nixon. I'm giving you. I think it's Nixon with an A, B, C, D option. What kind of drove that?
That's a really good question. I think I've always been fascinated by the the 40 plus men who've taken the seat of the Oval Office. It's an unbelievable task that a individual sets out to doing it. First of all, to run for president, and second of all, to become president and to be president. You have to be psychotic. You have to be fucking crazy. Like everyone, like that's not a political statement. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you are, Republican or Democrat, you're nuts. Because at any point, every day you wake up and every decision that you ever make, half the country is going to love you and half the country is going to hate you. And you have to make decisions to be able to do that. And these individuals, I mean, they're like throughout history, like the men that have taken the oath of office, Oliver, they've proven to be some of the craziest people in the world. And like, they have some of the most fun stories. They're some of the most interesting people that you'll ever read about. And not to say that there aren't other interesting people. I've just always been fascinated by it. Cause like, how does Like it's different than like Steve Jobs, who was fucking crazy, or Albert Einstein, who was like this insane genius too. Like those are two individual, like very interesting people who led interesting lives, and there's some crazy stories right there. But they didn't go about leading a country. They went into their craft and into their industry and did something. But these men were like, hey, I'm gonna make hundreds of thousands of decisions throughout, the next 4 to 8+ years if you're FDR. And
Right.
I'm gonna have half the country second guess me all the time. And it's a fascinating world, and it's a little fascinating microcosm of our history that I've
Yeah,
always loved.
and listen, I think obviously technologies and times have changed very much throughout history, but I think the presidents in the beginning were very much men of conviction in
Mhm.
their faith, and we're trying to make the world a better place, and I think today, unfortunately, I don't think it really works that way anymore. I mean, there's flip-flopping all over the place. I don't see conviction. I don't see the same type of men are running our countries anymore, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I mean, the again, taking politics out of it, the type of person, or the type of policies that James Madison was setting compared to Richard Nixon is just, mind numbing, right? Like,
Yeah,
and it's interesting, like those two characters in paralleled history, right? Like James Madison was widely criticized for um his handling of the War of 1812, right? And a man who is much maligned to be, he's argued as being one of our worst presidents because of the whole Watergate scandal and everything, but he got us out of Vietnam, which was, an absolute, political and social disaster, from a historical perspective, right? And you ask any school child, like, who's the better president, and I mean, I'll still say James Madison either way, but like,
yeah,
but it's not, there's no second guessing. There's no
yeah,
second. Everyone's going to say James Madison. James Madison, are you kidding me? Even
yeah.
though Nixon did a lot of great things in his presidency that were actually to a really great benefit to this country, but no one talks about it.
Yeah, and listen, the wars are different, fought differently
Yeah,
today. They weren't using fighter planes and nuclear powered submarines and all the technology, and there wasn't a button to push that could end the world today, back then.
right.
So we had very, very different times, and now with social media, there's cameras everywhere. There's it's a whole it's probably much harder today than it was back then, I'd imagine, with everything that happens.
Yeah, I mean, by the time
Oh,
news got to you about the decision the president made, you're like, well, that was stupid. I wouldn't have voted for him, and you've already voted for him,
Yeah,
two
yeah.
months ago.
right.
So yeah, no,
No,
it was different. It was a lot different. What do
yeah,
you say,
no,
Colin?
no. To your point, I mean, there are cameras everywhere. Everyone, it's on your phone, so people are pulling out cameras. So you have to watch what you're doing on a daily basis at a young age,
Hmm.
right? I mean, they're pulling stuff from when some of these guys are in, high school and college. So yeah, I know I can't run for any political office.
I don't think anyone on this panel can at this point.
Yeah, no, it's funny because my son who just graduated has ambitions, to go into politics someday, possibly, or Supreme Court justice track. And I tell him every day, listen, watch what you're doing on social media, watch what you're saying,
Yeah.
everything you do is tracked today. So if that's a real path you want to take, you have to really be aware.
But on all fronts, like
Yeah,
not only political. My son's going to and Bear going to Franklin Pierce, one of the most recognized and celebrated presidents.
No.
Um, no. But he's got for baseball, and he has to watch what he does. He can't have, and it's not even his posting. Is if if he's at a party and someone takes a picture of him doing something that he shouldn't be doing, that can get back to the coach, and that can affect his scholarship. So it's a different world that these kids are living in now. We had at weddings, you remember you go to your friend's wedding, there was the wind up camera.
Yeah.
So it's like, hold on, oh, let me get this. I'm gonna wind it. Let me
Yeah.
hold the button down for the flash, and then let me take the picture.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different world these guys
Now
are
you can
Yeah.
take
dealing with.
now you can take 4K video of someone being an ass, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. It was over a decade ago, the Michael Phelps thing, you know, where he was smoking a bong, you know, with University of Michigan paraphernalia on.
Yeah.
That was a huge deal. Like
Yeah.
that's been forgotten now, except for I brought it up,
Yeah.
of course.
You know,
But that was
Right.
you're on a campus that has something called hash bash for the last, I don't know how many years, most of my life. So,
and that wasn't a dig at your state, by the way, Tom.
yeah, no, but it's just funny that it was Phelps, right? Because it's like the campus holds this big, maybe the Ann Arbor doesn't, the university doesn't do it, but it's held on the campus, and a bunch of kids smoking weed on whatever day it is. And they don't even do it on 420, but it's funny that it's such an open thing in a campus, and then they then they bust a guy for smoking dope for swimming.
Right. Yeah. And now if you're on a campus and you smoke a cigar, now you'll be looked at as the bad guy. But if you're not part of that 420 rally, then you're the one that's ostracized. Right.
Yeah.
It's like a different
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, way different.
I feel so old.
Definitely. So, well, I know we got a little off track, but that was our presidential trivia segment brought to you by United Cigars. United Cigars featuring La Giana Havana, distributors of Jose Dominguez, Bandolero, Garofalo, the Firecracker, and the highly acclaimed Atabey, Byron, and now Alfonso lines from Selected Tobacco. Smoke one today and start living united. So that brings us into a subject that I wanted to, I thought we'd talk about this. So I know that people have probably been paying attention to my social media posts, speaking of cameras being everywhere and everything, social media posts the last few days. So we started a campaign on Flag Day. Oliver, this is an idea I came to you about, and it's really fun, and we're not even halfway through it. I'm really excited to keep continuing and everything. But the idea was Flag Day, which Jay Davis asked about Flag Day, not in the top 30 of most celebrated holidays. But Flag Day is June 14th, and from June 14th, Flag Day, to our nation's Independence Day of July 4th, which is in the top 5 most celebrated holidays, is exactly 20 days. It's actually 20 days. And there just happens to be 20 United Cigars in a box of United Cigars. And I got a great idea that it would be really awesome to get a box of United and celebrate those 20 days, taking one of our least known holidays, which is very important to our country. Our flag becoming official. It's also the birthday of the U.S. Army. P.S. And celebrating for the next 20 days to our nation's Independence Day. So I've been smoking a United cigar each day and posting about it with patriotic quotes and everything. Got to start across the pond in the UK, so that was kind of funny. I thought about doing something with tea and everything. It just kind of felt disrespectful. But I did buy a shirt, though, gentlemen. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to sport it. Hopefully it comes before the end of this, but whether it does or not, I was talking about the mail being terrible. I was really nervous. Oliver sent me some United Cigars. He sent it to me 2 weeks before I was supposed to depart on my trip, and it got here 2 days before I left. So I was getting real nervous, man. But the T-shirt I got is awesome. It says, "I like my coffee black and my tea in the harbor." So I'm gonna be rocking that one.
You didn't get that in London, did you?
No. Yeah, it was mail order. I'm gonna be rocking that here soon. But yeah, so we're smoking United Cigars for the next 20 days, from June 14th all the way to July 4th, and just talking about some great tidbits in history and celebrating this nation and everything. So Oliver, I appreciate you taking my crazy idea and running with it and everything. But wanted to kind of give you the floor to talk about the United brand a little bit more. I know we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but why this brand, which it's not owned by the American people, but it's certainly a brand that carries the stars and stripes and the colors and everything. So you guys have put a point of pride into it to kind of represent it that way, which is something I've always appreciated. So I wanted to give you the floor to talk a little bit more about the brand.
Yeah, so I think and first of all, thank you for coming up with the concept, with the idea. I think that first phone call is like, absolutely, I'm on board. It's a brilliant idea. Which I had thought of it, and we'd been running it for for years now. But it's definitely something I'd love to continue. It's smart, and it brings more awareness that the flag should be celebrated more. But so I think for the United line itself, the flagship, the company was formed in 1901. So when you go back in history, United Cigars has been around for quite some time. They built, that company built it up to over 3,000 locations across the country, and then everything kind of dissolved in the 60s, and then when we picked it back up, picked the name back up and the branding, but for me, I just wanted to put a little more focus on it and redid the packaging and loved the stars and stripes. Wanted to keep that theme going and just kind of make it not necessarily more patriotic. I mean, there are some other brands out there, and there are other people that have either served or are first responders, or that's kind of their stronghold on the brand. But for United, I really wanted to again just focus on not only the name, but tying it into the American flag and the Americana. I'll, even on social media, if I see a flag waving, it means something to me. I see it waving, it kind of hits me a certain way. So I'll post the flag just by itself on our social media, just for for the state I'm in, and I'll say thank you. And I think where we kind of took that turn to celebrate what the flag stands for, because not to be political, the flag represents our ability to represent both sides, or any side.
Yeah.
It gives us the ability to have discussions. It gives us the ability to say, this is what I believe, and someone right across from you may not believe that, but it gives us the ability to talk about it. And men and women have sacrificed lives and time and family and friends for to defend it. So for the United line, I had a friend that actually gave me a star that had been cut out from a U.S. flag, now probably about 7-8 years ago, and I always held on to it, and it was something special because he was a retired Marine, and gave me that, just bring awareness and saying thank you. And so I think it was just now about 2 years ago, I reached out to the foundation that started that, and that was Stars for Our Troops, and flags will be sent to them. The vets will cut out the stars from the flags, and they put them into baggies, and we donate back to the foundation. And then they'll send us the stars. We send those down to the Dominican, and we put those into every single one of the United cigar boxes, just again to just bring awareness to, and a thank you to vets and first responders, and our men and women that are currently serving as well. So it was not that it was a no-brainer, but I think the name United Cigars and the stars and stripes that are on there, just it was a proper tie-in. So we and I know for the company itself, I'm working on a couple projects for next year that we'll do a little bit more as well.
It's a really cool foundation, and I really love the sentiment behind it too. For those, Oliver, just a real quick clarification, since you know a little bit more about the background of it. Quick clarification for most people who may think that this might be considered desecration of the flag. It's not. Why? why is this foundation exist, and why do they cut out the stars, and why is it okay, so to speak?
So it is. I mean, they're vets. It's the foundation starts for our troops. You can go check them out. Um, as far as the desecration, we look at the even the burning of the flag is not, you're not supposed to burn the flag, but if it touches the ground, then to give it a proper burial, so to speak, you can burn it. But cutting out the stars, from what they've told me, is not desecration.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually paying tribute to the flag, and keeping it going. So when I learned about that, I thought it was, again, it's a very small way to say thank you to them, but it was important to us. So yeah, it's a great foundation. So we're able to support the vets that are there, cutting out the stars, and doing their part, and then bringing awareness by having that in the boxes.
Yeah, it's important to know that while they take monetary donations too, and I'll be posting this in the chat here in just a second, and then also in the show notes later. They do take monetary donations. The flags are donated. This is important. These are flags
are donated.
They don't manufacture flags just to cut up. These are flags that are retired, like you said, if it touches the ground, or is if the flag is discoloration, torn to shreds. If it's
right.
it needs to be, it needs to be retired, so to speak, and the only way to get rid of it is to burn it. But with each of these stars, it and in the boxes of United, and with the stars for our troops as well, it comes with a simple message, which is, I am part of our American flag that has flown over the U.S. United States of America. I can no longer fly. The sun and winds cause me to become tattered or torn. Please carry me as a reminder that you are not forgotten. Which is very powerful, and I love that message accompanies those stars, and it's part of every box, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that to the attention of everyone. It's like I said, it's subtle, but we just hope somebody grabs it just like I did. They put it in their pocket, their wallet, their purse, and carry it with them, and hopefully get back to the foundation as well.
Absolutely wonderful. Check it out, starsforourtroops.org. I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and post it in the chat, and then I'll be in the show notes later. And feel free to donate either a flag or some small monetary means. This is a great organization. I support, as everyone here on the show knows, I'm a big supporter of our veterans. My father was a veteran. Spoke to him today, Father's Day, of course, which was real nice. And I'm actually sending, and the card that I sent him for Father's Day, I actually sent him one of the stars, Oliver, that I got from the boxes. So I hope he treasures it the way that you treasured it years from your friend giving it to you just years ago and stuff. So cool stuff. Well, fantastic. Well, wanted to kind of transition this a little bit into our next segment, of course, which is our asylum moment. So I love this particular, this particular segment, but we're gonna do a little bit of a different spin this time on it. So, but it is, of course, sponsored by Asylum Cigars. Refuge is more than just a physical place; it can be a state of mind. Some of life's greatest reflections can be found in our own personal asylum. Moments like these were made for Asylum Cigars. So light up an asylum and choose your refuge. John, both of you all have been on since we've had this segment, obviously, and so it's mostly been about like that private moment. While cigars are very communal based, it's always, cigars also have that really nice, that can be that kind of, that give us that refuge by ourselves sometimes. And so I gave a lot of thought to this, and I wanted to put a little bit of a spin on our asylum segment this week, because I knew we were going to be talking about Sensorium and on the Alfonso as well. Like, these are cigars that are earmarked for celebration, right? Like they're not the so-called daily smokes or whatever. But so I wanted to ask you guys this question: have you ever earmarked a cigar for a celebratory moment? And that either did or did not come to fruition, and what was that moment about, and why did you pick that particular cigar? So I wanted to put that to you guys. If and yeah, like I said, I it came to thought just because I knew we'd be talking about Sensorium and the Alfonso lines and stuff, and I thought it'd be a nice little different take on this particular segment this week.
Yeah, go ahead
Yeah,
and start, Oliver. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So one that didn't.
Either one for free license here, man. You can tell if whatever story you want to tell. It's
all right. Well, so I'll say one that just kind of that I was holding. I ended up getting into it before the event, but I was holding. There were two. It was actually two Cubans, but Hoyo de Monterrey double Coronas, and I was holding them for when I was living in Vegas at the time, and I was holding them for when it's actually a friend that was supposed to come out and had gone through a hard time, and he was gonna come visit, but then couldn't come out. I said, look, I'm gonna smoke it, for you, and just know that I'm thinking about you. I ended up smoking it at this. It was like a jazz club in Vegas called Bix Lounge, and they had this 3-piece jazz band, and I think one, it was a fantastic cigar, and I think in the moment and everything, it just it really kind of took that. I was surrounded with with some of our friends that he knew, and we were kind of celebrating celebrating him. He obviously still around, thank God, but celebrating him. And I smoked that cigar, and it was such a great time. I ended up going back and getting the second one, and I ended up smoking both of them that night. And it was just it could have been. I think it was the moment, it was the environment, it was everything that just kind of made it such a memorable moment, because that was back in '97. And it still just kind of hits me today that I remember that moment like it was, like it was yesterday. But it was kind of a celebration of him and our friends, and it turned from one cigar to me smoking both of them for both of us.
That's awesome. So 97, that's back when Cubans were not atrociously priced and actually still really good.
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't crazy.
The time it was probably crazy, but like look at is everything like we were talking about history. If you look back, it's like, oh, that wasn't so bad. That same cigar could probably cost you $120 today. So
Yeah.
which hey, Oliva did 300, so it's not even halfway to an Oliva at this point. So
that's right.
Yeah. So is it really the cigar that's that has the value, or is it the addition of some extra foil gold, or whatever you put on the cigar?
I actually haven't read too much into it on if you're talking about the Oliva cigar. I know it'll be something special. They've been I really like what they've been doing in particular the last few years and stuff. Some of the cigars that they've been doing, bringing the Maduro to regular production. I thought their anniversary cigar that they put out, that unique size, was really great, and that was actually a pretty good value too, because it certainly wasn't $300. But I like what they've been doing lately. And so I'm interested. I mean I can't say that I'll be ponying up $300 myself for it, but I mean it's still it's exciting to see what their take on that ultra super mega dope, whatever premium space is. I don't even know what to call it when it gets that high. But yeah, I don't really know. I'm sure that the Tepacos have something to do with it, but also there's going to be at that point there's going to be a presentation of some kind as well.
For sure.
So, Tom, what about you?
Man, I can't say that I've ever saved a cigar for a specific moment. I'm not a real good saver. I'm a consumer. I like to smoke my cigars, and I always set some aside, but I actually always find it more rewarding to give them away. you know,
Interesting.
when I have, you know, like I keep some of the sevens, the eights, you know, and I have someone who comes to my house and really enjoys cigars and, you know, understand them, you know, and they go through the humidor and they, you know, they want to pick something out and, you know, I just let them take them, you know what I mean? Because for me, you know, I have such opportunities to smoke the cigars and, you know, I have a few, uh, you know, that I've had for years, and some are newer that you know, maybe a friend passed away or something, and there's something more sentimental to the cigar. But you know, I don't bring myself to smoke those or give those away. But you know, I tend to set things aside, but it just, you know, I've never set one aside for a specific goal or moment specifically. You know, I look, you know, my sons like to smoke cigars with me now, and uh, you know, so they take what they want, and uh, you know, I just tend to give them away, like the cigars that kind of have more meaning to me that I save. You know, again, I had you know, my son's graduation party yesterday, and you know, all the family was there and friends, and you know, one of my uncles, uh his son is in the is special forces airborne ranger, and you know, I just about a week ago I got a call and said, hey, Patrick actually likes to smoke cigars. So, you know, I put a humidor together and a package that they're going to ship out to him now, you know, and I put, you know, try and put some special cigars in there for him, even though he's a little more, you know, novice cigar smoking. But him and his buddies, when they have a chance to relax, like to sit back and smoke. So even if they won't really understand the cigar, I just, it's for the appreciation of what those guys do, man, you know.
Yeah, amen.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it is. You know, Tom, you touched on it too. We, you know, we sometimes you save cigars, or you know, you hear a lot of people, "Oh, I'm saving that box, or I'm going to smoke it in another year," and but you have to, um, you know, you have to enjoy them because you never know. You know, you never know what tomorrow is going to be, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you gotta smoke them and enjoy them, and sometimes, you know, I've had incredible memories and you know, fun nights, and the cigar might be something I mean, I've smoked before. I didn't enjoy it as much, or it wasn't, you know, something that really struck me as something phenomenal. But then you know, you take an event or a celebration or just, you know, just a night, and it turns into one of the best cigars you've ever had.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think the sometimes the people around you, the experience just creates it, you know.
Right.
It might not be the most special cigar that you've been saving or anything like that, but the moment, the time was just perfect, you know, and you
Yeah.
hear that all the time, and you know, and I think it works, you know. It's you know, you sit back and you know, you have conversations with friends and family, and you know, everybody's having something to experience, whether it's good or bad, or you know, uh, you know, there's just always a good time to enjoy a cigar with someone that uh, your family or that you love and care about, or maybe somebody that you don't know that well, and it just gives you an opportunity to get to know that person a lot better, you know. And that's the beauty of the cigars, you know. I think like today, just again having a conversation with my uncle again today, because you know, obviously he always has this worry, you know, that his son is you know, in special forces and will be put in positions where his life's in danger, you know.
Right.
And so he always has that worry, and but he keeps you know, he keeps it at bay with faith in God and trust in his son, and you know, and so, you know, for that stuff, it's just fun to have a cigar and talk and uh just kind of vent to each other and your worries and the beauties of the worlds, and so you know, it's a moment that, you know, it's just fun to enjoy. It's just fun to sit and talk with family and friends, and whatever their thing is at that time.
Right.
It's just such a peaceful way to do it and an enjoyable way to do it.
That's awesome. I think that I've earmarked cigars all the time because I age a lot of my cigars. I'm the opposite of Tom. Which apparently Oliver, we need to head to Tom's house since
Yeah.
sounds like the party's at Tom's. I mean, I think I do like giving cigars away too. So I'm not just a hoarder. So I enjoy that aspect of it as well. But I've often earmarked cigars. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do that for this, and I'll be honest, like I was a lot of times when I've earmarked it, it's something that happens all the time, and so I'm not able to enjoy it when I'm planning on doing it. Like even on my wedding day, I said I was going to smoke a cigar, and my wife said, "You're going to smoke a cigar on your wedding day, right?" Of course, yeah, absolutely. And didn't get around to it, because
Yeah.
obviously. But I was nervous about this trip too, because I was like, I need to create these opportunities. So I wanted to do this campaign that we just talked about with the United Cigars and stuff, and I needed to make it, and it's kind of, I think what the next 20 days is going to teach me about this particular campaign, and hopefully some variants of it, if to in future in the future as well, will me to be able to not force those moments, but create those opportunities, to put it in a much lighter context, to enjoy it. Because I think, that's what's really great about cigars. I think that's where we can all agree with that, is like the moments that it has afforded us, whether we're in a community space or it is, something solo and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. So Tom, I know you said you don't save a lot. So does that mean you don't have any OG Camachos laying around, or do you have some of those too?
No, I don't think I have a single OG Camacho in my house.
Oh
I'm
man.
actually just, it's funny because I've been giving humidors away like crazy. I cleared out like 3 of them this month, just with with friends, or like I said, nephews or whatever. Just yeah, they've been starting to enjoy it, so I'm just like want to help them enjoy it, and become members of our smoking community, and to sit back and relax and enjoy the cigars like we do. So, but yeah, no, I've got a few of like the Dragon's Milk left, the old Dragon's
Oh, there
Milk
you
laying
go.
around. Then I mean, I've got, geez, I have probably some 20-year-old La Gloria Cubanas,
Oh wow.
It was the first box of cigar I've ever bought. It was probably, like 21 years ago when I started in the business. Before I was even with Camacho, when I was with Calibri. But yeah, so yeah, I'm just not, my thought process just doesn't ever work that way. So I'm just more like, they're here to enjoy, man. Like, take it. And if you're gonna enjoy it, I want to share it with people, and hopefully they can enjoy it the way I would.
Yeah. Yeah, and not every cigar ages well. I mean,
God,
and that's why I was a little
that's the
leery
truth.
to answer. I
Yeah.
was a little leery to answer that question at first because, one, I didn't want to put any company down, but because it can just happen. It might have been the way I was storing it or whatever. But I had a box that I had kept, and it was 10 plus years old. It was when I started working on the retail side in Vegas, and that was 98, 99, and I had moved then back to Boston, and I must have opened it in 2013, and it was like smoking cardboard. It was
Ugh.
just such a disappointment. But again, it wasn't, that might not have been the cigar, because I still, that cigar is still, a top line, but it might have been the way I stored it. But with that said, when I was in Las Vegas as well, working for a retailer out there, and then I started to actually purchase vintage cigars from the 30s, 40s, 20s,
Oh
and
wow.
recondition them. And then we would then sell those to the casinos, or we'd have them in the casino for retail. And those cigars at the time were um, were retailing for 100, 120 because they were from 20s and 30s. So anyway, fast forward, and we were going through a lot of them, but fast forward, I still have some probably about 10 boxes left that are full, and some just I don't want to crack them open. I still have a box of La Polina that is selling for 9 cents, I think. That is full. It's a box of 50. But the point of my story is that it's about the experience as well, because I had a box of Buzzer cigars. Have you ever seen it? It had a butterfly on the box. It was called Buzzer. From the research I had done, it dated back to the either late 1800s, early 1900s. They didn't have a band on them, so I could never sell them back. And they were little perfectos, and there were probably about 20 left out of the box of 50. But I brought them when we opened up the Atabey Lounge in Frisco, Texas, with Industrial Cigars. And one night with the VIP members in the back, because I only had a certain amount, I broke that out, and we all smoked a cigar that was, could be close to 100 years old. And that night, it seemed like the room just went silent at one point, and everybody was just so focused on the cigar. So I don't know if it was, I mean, the cigar smokes well and it was good, but was it that, or was it the experience of us all just sitting there smoking a cigar that we knew was about 100 years old, but the box was kind of falling apart. And so it is, I think it's almost a 50-50 experience. It can be the cigar, and it could be the experience of everyone enjoying something together.
Awesome. Well, I know that, again, we got our track on that one too, but that was our asylum moment. Refuge is more than just a physical place. It could be a state of mind. Some of life's greatest reflections can be found in our own personal asylum. Moments like these were made for Asylum Cigars. Light up an asylum and choose your refuge. To kind of piggyback on those celebratory moments and to concentrate on today, which is which is Father's Day, which we've done. Tom, this is we've done this now. This is our fourth year. This is our fourth year. Oliver's come back to us the second year in a row. This is our second time doing the three of us, which has been nice.
Isn't that the third?
No, because you couldn't do the first one. Remember, like you.
I was in.
You were
in DR.
Yeah, you were in the
or
Dominican,
traveling that day.
Yeah, the plan. Yeah, this would have been.
The plane was leaving at 10.
Yes. The plan was this would have been the third year. If everything had gone according to plan. Unfortunately, like we were talking about with travel getting in the way of stuff, but but as we've kind of talked about over the years with everything and kind of celebrated our children, everything, you guys have had a tremendous year. You had two kids, both graduate from high school, and with some incredible recognition. I just want to take a moment to talk about it, because I think I know you both are insanely proud, but I'm proud for you and your kids, and because I've heard you guys talk about them over the years, and it's really great. And Tom, you mentioned a second ago your son's graduation party and everything. This was Nolan graduated with summa cum laude. It looked like crazy. He was the president of the International Thespian Association or something, or Society. Excuse me, I don't want to butcher that.
Yeah, their chapter, the International Thespian Society, is it's international, but they have chapters all around the world. And so he was the president of that, and was obviously graduating and passing the torch to the next president. So he got to perform there, and did Bring Him Home, a song from Les Mis, which I just love to watch him sing. He's an amazing singer, and he did his choir, final choir thing. He did a solo with Sinatra, My Way, and
oh wow.
So he's just been fun to watch him develop, because he's he really only has been into theatrical and the choir for about 6 years. and really has done an amazing job. So yeah, he was he finished with a 4.189 GPA, and he was salutatorian, so he was number 2 in his class. And he'll be going to a very conservative school in America, Hillsdale College, in Michigan. Here, it's one of the most conservative schools in America, and he'll be focusing on business and political science, and then he wants to go to law school after that. So,
The future Supreme Court justice, right? This is the same. This is the
or
same.
president, yeah, or who knows? Maybe he'll change his mind and just come sell cigars. He's tried that out once. I told no. I said you come back later maybe, but not now. You got to go build a life.
Just thinking about the scene from The Godfather when Marlon Brando's talking about the choices that he wished that Michael had made. He's like, I always thought you were gonna be like Senator Corleone, Governor Corleone.
Yeah.
So we've got congressman or senator or maybe Supreme Court justice in the future for Nolan. So that's awesome, Tom. I know you've got other kids too, but I just know that was something recent, some recent accomplishments that I wanted to highlight. It was pretty
I
cool.
appreciate that, man. He it's all on him, man. He is one self-motivated child. He just works hard, and he's not a kid you have to ask to clean his room or take care of business. He just does it, man. It's amazing.
Wow.
And I love my older son too, but he is not that way.
I was gonna say, what's the secret?
Yeah, I don't know if they he grew up in the same household. One's like room's a disaster all the time. Always got to ask him. The other one, just takes out the garbage without asking, feeds the dogs, and he's an amazing. They're both amazing kids, but very very different.
That's awesome.
One raises your blood pressure, the other one lowers it. That's a good. You need that.
What's your oldest been up to these days, Tom?
He's really he's working in he's driving a tow truck. He's doing repos and that kind of stuff, but his real passion, he's got a side business where he's into photography, like in cars. So
Oh, cool.
Every night he's out and on the streets, he's doing photo shoots for people with their cars and videos, and for businesses that he's got friends that have companies that wrap cars or do detailing. So he'll go do the photos, and they'll put them on their websites and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff.
Oh,
So
neat.
he really loves it. Actually, he wants to move to Dallas next year. He said the car scene's really good, and
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah.
he's actually wants to just keep building this, and he makes a lot of networking, and so he's finding his own way. His way wasn't college. He didn't want to go to college, so but he's a great kid, man. He gets in no trouble and whatever. He's always the kid works a ton. I mean, nonstop. He's very dedicated, and he's a good worker, and so he's an entrepreneur, like his dad. He wants to find his way in his own business, and I appreciate it. I try and help him as much as I can along the way. Doesn't always listen, but
Well, he doesn't.
that's
He
the
doesn't
way
have
it
to
goes.
look for trouble. He's in repo, man. Trouble finds him.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's awesome though about the car shoot stuff. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a great scene down here. So if he makes his way down here, Tom, let me know. I'd love to go to a couple shows and maybe meet him and just get
he's
his take on it.
traveling. Yeah, he keeps stealing my truck, so he's going to Chicago for a show. I think he'll be in Tennessee to do a show soon, and so he just goes down on the weekends, and he's got a media pass at the drag strip here, and he goes and does the weekend drag racing, and so he loves it, man. He's just into it, and he likes building cars. Him and his friends tear them apart, and his mother, well, my ex-wife but his mother you know, it's like, you got to get these cars out of here, because he's got 2 cars at the house, and one, you know, we built the BMW, but he's got some turbo work to do on it, so he's you know, it's been sitting in the driveway, and with the graduation party at the house, they're like, you got to get this car out of the driveway, you know. But yeah, it's fun. He really enjoys it, so it's fun to watch him find his passion and what he really loves to do.
That's awesome. And Oliver, for you, Luke accepted a scholarship to Franklin Pierce. We were talking about that just a few moments ago, and I mean, talk about a kid who's dedicated to his craft, just like Tom's kiddos as well. I mean, it seemed like every weekend or every week, you know, even during COVID, you know, you would post videos of him just doing BP in y'all's garage, or, I mean, he's a focused kid, and I know you and your wife must be really, really, really proud of everything that he's accomplished on the ball field and classroom as well.
Yeah, classroom, and there's no, you know, academically, you know, at least we got A's and B's out of him. You know, there's no summa cum laude or you know, any you know, awards, but he put his you know, nose in the books, and knew that he had to have good grades to get any type of you know, any type of scholarship or any chance to play on a team. But he's I'll say for him, you know, his dedication started early on. Like, that was always a passion for him. Baseball was always a passion for him, and he took it upon himself. I mean, obviously, you know, I helped him out when he was younger, and you know, I did, you know, drive him to all the travel baseball and the lessons. But you know, he always just wanted to do more. I mean, I remember I posted one video. I don't think it was during any, you know, big, you know, sport game on TV, but you know, he was just asking me to throw him tennis balls so he could, you know, practice some grounders. But you know, even like this, you know, this weekend, there was a graduation party down in the Cape, and last night, and he was supposed to have a doubleheader today. He plays in this collegiate summer league, you know, really collegiate men's league. So he's got, you know, some D1, D2, D3 guys, and then just some guys out of college playing. And he, at first, he's like, you know, I just shouldn't go down there because I'd have to, you know, beat Cape traffic coming back, and you know, I don't want to do it. But then he, you know, he decided, and he said, look, I think I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to, you know, plan it out. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to drink, and I'm not going to, you know, I'll stay down there, but I'll leave by 8 a.m. so I can get back up here. And he ended up leaving at 7:30 in the morning. He was in bed, sleeping in the back of his Jeep last night. He showed me his pillow, the blankets that were laid out, and yeah, sure enough, he was back. But unfortunately, the game was rained out. But yeah, he's going up to Franklin Pierce next year, and he's fighting for that third base slot. And you know, the coaches really like him, and the players that he's run into over this summer league that he's playing, and you know, they're pushing for him, and you know, they're watching him play, and they're saying that you know, he can get it, but he still has to work hard. But it's all dedication off the field, and those, you know, those hours, those sunset hours that he's going up to the cages and hitting, that have really benefited him. And you know, so I'm really proud of the dedication that he has to separate, especially as a teenager, right? To separate that social life to what his end goal is. He wants to focus on that. So I give him a lot of credit for manning up. His room's a mess, but he's dedicated.
I think Nolan's special that he cleans his own room. I don't even clean my room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He's a rare breed, man. It's he's not normal.
That's awesome.
D2, right?
Daughter,
That's Division 2, right?
Yeah, D2.
Nice.
D2. They struggled a little bit this year. They were in the top. I think they were ranked 9th at one point in the country, and then just slipped, and ended up, I think, in the top 25. And I think there are 220 something D2s. So it's a strong program. So we'll see what he can make out of it. But obviously, you know, education is the most important, and he's going into sports medicine.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, happy for him. And then my daughter's going to be a senior next year, so I got another one right behind.
Back to
Trying to
back.
finish things up, and yeah, and she's more into the arts. She was, she did sports early on. She had a good balance. Like she was always the one that did everything. She did music and art and then soccer, basketball, and she was just recognized. She won an award for one of her poems that she submitted to um, I forget what it was, but I forget the name of it. But she was recognized up in New Hampshire. So it was about a 4 hour trip, but they took the trip up there and got recognized for her poem. So she's on a more of an artist path, and she wants to get into some sort of filmmaking or film production.
Oh wow, that'd be really cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. So definitely we got our hands full, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I may have asked a varying question to this point, but I think I'm still kind of interested to hear from both of you guys on it. So I think all three of us are huge sports fans. We can watch any sports. Oliver and I specifically on baseball, but I know you like baseball too, Tom. But I know you like just sports in general and everything. So for with Nolan getting involved in the arts and Oliver, your daughter into the arts and too. I mean that's not the way you guys kicked up your feet on a Friday night normally and everything. How because my kids are younger and I know that's my son did do baseball this year, which was fun to watch for me, but it was more fun and it's probably not going to go anywhere just knowing my son's athletic ability. But knowing that my kids will probably be doing things that I'm probably have little to no knowledge or interest in. I'm curious like how that was. I mean, I know we love our children and we support our children and everything they do, but like what was that like to kind of go into a world that wasn't normally your ideal idea of like a good Saturday night or whatever?
Yeah, man. For me, it's funny because obviously I grew up playing sports and went to college to play football, and but my older son followed the path and played football and basketball and baseball, and then like I said, around fifth grade, Nolan said, "Hey, you know." He was playing football, baseball, basketball, and he said, "Dad, I don't want to play sports anymore. I want to get into this." And I said, fantastic, whatever. So we put him in to some camps. He joined the drama club and choir and started doing all those things, and very quickly caught on. I mean, I don't want to brag. It's not bragging, but he just really sticks on the stage, man. The kid is he just really popped on the stage, and his voice. He got invited to like the Detroit Opera Theater, their youth choir,
Oh wow.
and it brought a tear to your eye. The first time
Yeah.
you see him sing, and you're like, what? Where the hell did that come from? Because that didn't come from me. I don't know anyone who sings well in my family, but it was always kind of a battle because he had always asked, Dad, are you mad at me? And I said, what do you mean mad?
Mm.
Well, because I don't play sports, because I'm a sports nut, And I said, son, absolutely not. I said, if your brother continues in sports, he's going to play for X amount of years until he's not good enough or injuries or take over. I said, dude, this stuff you can do the rest of your life. You can
Mhm.
sing, you can play music, you can act, you can do this the rest of your life. So, and I may not know anything about music. He's really into he took the AP music classes and he's done all of it. And, I just said, listen, you're just going to have to teach me, and I'm all for it, So, I mean, there's nothing better than watching him perform, man. It's like the proudest moment. And no different if you're watching your kid play football and makes a great play, or baseball, or, Oliver, like, just out there watching him perform, whether it's sports or music or theater, it's really, really a moving experience, man, to watch your kids excel and see the hard work they put into it, and the effort, and to it just really, it blows you away, man. You sit back and you're like, wow, how does he do it?
Yeah, I think this, it's the same for me. It's watching. It's really once it's your blood, you're watching them develop, and anything they do, you want to be a part of it. And um, it's funny seeing the two. It's I have a boy and a girl, and they were both into sports, and then just Olivia just in the last 2 years just kind of went away from the sports because she was always like, she was scrappy, she was fast, and she wanted to play with her friends more than competing at a different level. Whereas Luke, we were on, I mean, we were on vacation. My family's from France, so we vacation, we would go to France. And this one year, I don't know, it must have been 4 or 5, and there was this ride that would have been illegal anywhere else because there were no seatbelts or anything else in it. It was like these, go in a circle, but they would lift up as a rocket ship or a car, or, whatever you're sitting in, and then they would have this like stuffed animal that would drop down, and if you grabbed it, you got an extra prize. So imagine the ride is raising up, you're not in a seatbelt, the kid's standing up. Luke is standing up, and he jumped up and grabbed the stuffed animal to rip it down because he always just had that competitive edge. So they're just two different personalities. So you got Olivia, where our relationship turned into, in fact, the Father's Day gift that I got from her was a photo book of our adventures. And she's big into music, and our adventures are, taking a trip to New York and seeing Phantom of the Opera, going to dinners, visiting all the museums that, my son would be, beating me up and saying, I'm not going to that. And so it's, two different animals. For my birthday last year, she got, with her money from working, she bought 2 tickets to Elton John for just the two of us to go in New Jersey. So we take a road trip down in New Jersey, and we go to see Elton John. And we saw Jimmy Buffett last summer. We went to see Gypsy Kings this year. Took her to a candlelight Queen orchestra. They played Queen in this old church. It was a 3-piece orchestra. Is an orchestra, a 3-piece band that only played Queen, but the whole place was lit up by candles. So those are the types of things that, I mean, would I go? Look, I'm a Buffett fan. I'm going to Buffett, anytime. But Elton John, I had never seen. I never owned, any CDs from him or any music. But that was special for us because we watch movies together, like constantly, like more art. So we watched the Rocket Man over and over, and just fell in love with the movie. So she bought 2 tickets for us to go see Elton John. So the things that your kids have, if it was something that was of interest for you before or not, you learn about it, and you gravitate towards it, and you want to learn everything about it so that you can have that connection with them. And it's more emotional. That part's more emotional tie than the sports kid, where, and that gets emotional too, but where he's out there playing baseball, and I'm watching him and just proud, and it's the man moment, right? The sports moment where this is what I watched on TV, and now I'm watching my son do it. But no matter what they do, you want to be a part of it, and it's just special. It's pretty special.
That's awesome. Well, gentlemen, we got a couple more questions to cap off our evening. I really want to thank you again so much for joining me tonight on Father's Day, for 2nd year in a row for Oliver and Tom. This is their 4th time doing it. Thank you so much. Really, really enjoy this tradition that's shaping up to be and everything. So we'll go ahead and ask the next segment, which is brought to you by Postania Cigars. Everybody eats. If you always make sure that your servant's towel is bigger than your appetite, everybody will always get theirs. Postania Cigars is more than just great cigars made by cool people. They embody an attitude of gratitude and grit. With Postania, everybody eats. So, shocker, this segment's about food, guys. So again, but staying on theme for the day of Father's Day, I thought it would be really kind of fun to ask what and you've probably had several over the years. Tom, you just had one earlier today, but what's a meal that stands out that you shared with your children, and why was it memorable?
Oh man, a specific meal. Today it was funny. Today I just wanted pizza, man. They got
Detroit
off
style pizza or just pizza?
yeah, Detroit style pizza. Yeah, man.
Nice.
They got off easy because it was I've been in Europe for 2 weeks, so it's like I started in Germany, so it's schnitzel and brats, and and then you go to Switzerland, and it's the same, and Austria. Then I went to Austria, and it's like we're schnitzel and brats, uh, and then I went to Croatia, and then it was more seafood and amazing seafood and things like that. And then Albania was the same thing. I was actually blown away. The food in Albania was amazing. It was just the Adriatic Sea is only like 25 miles from Tirana, so they have super fresh seafood, and the way it was uh, displayed and everything, man, it was awesome. But with the kids, this time I just wanted pizza. My kids are they love their steak, so most of the time it's I love taking them to the first time I think most memorable is taking them to Fogo de Chao, and where it's just meat on a stick coming out at whatever pace you want to eat. They absolutely love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah, you say fogo de chao, and it's funny because it's meats, and that's my son's meat and potatoes, and my daughter's more you give her sushi anywhere, and she's ecstatic. So yeah, one of the best memories of recent was I took them both down to Clearwater Beach for April vacation. I think it was last year. So you talk about two different kids where my daughter wants to be on the beach, and my son just wants to do other things. We ended up going to a Rays game, which the stadium was still during COVID, so the stadium was, I don't know how many, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 7,000 people were in there, so it was empty, but it was great.
That
But
doesn't matter if it's
yeah,
COVID or not. That's just Tampa baseball.
right. It was great, but a nice stadium. The dome's ridiculous. You can't see
Oh, yeah.
anything. But so yeah, his first experience was it wasn't Fogo de Chao, but there was a Brazilian restaurant. And I was like, all right, we got to take you guys here, for that experience. And um, like I said, he's all meat and potatoes, so he was through the roof. And then my daughter on the other side is eating the salad bar and taking a couple pieces of meat. So it didn't work out as well for her. But then on the other side, I mean, introducing her and she's to different meals wherever we might travel to, or whatever experience we have. She's the one that will hey, let's go on a road trip. And we drove up to New Hampshire one time just to go to the Red Arrow Anchor, which has been around since like 1922. And that's our time, is the food. Outside of that, it's really, I do a lot of the cooking, and seeing their faces. Not to, I'll pat myself on the back. I love cooking. I love trying new things. I'm kind of I put myself in those situations where Thanksgiving turns into 2-3 days of cooking and prepping everything. But just to see them and talk about it, to their friends, and then it turns into their friends coming over, and they want the tacos that I'm cooking up. It's those are always the special moments. I'll sacrifice the hours of prepping just to see the smile on their faces.
Yeah, I wondered if it was going to be someplace that you actually went, or if it was something that you made with them, Oliver, just knowing you and how you like to cook and
Yeah,
everything. So, um,
yeah, a
yeah,
little bit of both. A little bit of both.
some epic meal times in the Nivaud household, for
Yeah.
sure. But that's not to put a pass on Jet's Detroit style pizza though, Tom. I mean, that's
Yeah.
next level good stuff.
Yeah, we didn't do Jets today. We did a different one, but yeah, and the same thing. I travel so much now, the cooking, but COVID, I cook like crazy. I enjoy cooking too, and doing all the prep work, and just making a really good meal. That's I guess it's cooking with love.
Yeah.
It's just enjoyable to sit back and make a great meal and different experiences and try new things. It's a great way to do it.
Yeah, there's something very satisfying about putting something on the plate for your family. I love doing it. I mean, my kids are, chicken nuggets and stuff like that, but like I try to expose them to a lot of different things, and I know it'll get hopefully more adventurous in the, as they get older. My wife's tastes are pretty bland, but she'll always try something, which was really cool. Like when we were in London, she had never had Indian food. She was scared of it, because Indian food has this reputation for being insanely spicy and stuff like that, which she does not do. But I was incredibly proud of her. She'll always try everything, which is really great. That's what I love about her. And she ended up liking the restaurant, which was really cool. So she
Yeah.
ended up liking some of the dishes, which was really great. So got some ideas for me thinking about what I could do to change up the menu a little bit. So good stuff. Good stuff. Well, fantastic. Well, that was our Everybody Eats segment sponsored by Postania Cigars. If you always make sure that your servant's towel is bigger than your appetite, everyone will always get theirs. Postania Cigars is more than just great cigars made by cool people. They embody an attitude of gratitude and grit. With Postania, everybody eats. All right, gentlemen, this is the last question of the evening. So thank you so much again for making time on this Sunday night. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Happy Father's Day to you too, gentlemen, on this special day for us. So our last segment is brought to you by Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Fastballs or curveballs, it doesn't matter. Since the company's inception, Steve Saka has been knocking them out of the park 8 consecutive years in the consensus top 3. Congratulations to our friend, Mr. Steve Saka. So I've asked a similar question each year at this particular point about, fatherly advice and things like that. And I think it's always interesting to kind of take a time capsule back and everything. So I was thinking about this, particularly today. My dad had this magical way about him. He wasn't a poet laureate or anything like that. Like it sounds like your daughter's going to become Oliver, but he always had these really great sayings. Some have aged really well, some haven't aged great, but he always had these way of really expressing himself, like examples and stuff, and putting it into words that I could understand, which was really great. But I wanted to see if there was something that you guys had that, like, maybe at the time you didn't think it was anything of too significance or anything like that. It was just something you said to your kids, but it's something that stuck with them, and something that they've carried on, in their later years here. And maybe it surprised you, maybe it didn't, but it was, at the time, maybe it wasn't very significant, but it ended up becoming that way. So I just wanted to see if there was any fatherly advice you had passed on that's kind of stuck throughout the years with your kids.
Well, yeah. So I'll jump in. For Luke to start with, as he passes this on to his friends, and this is he's told me this has helped him in baseball. I said, pain is temporary, and that's helped him not to fear anything, but most importantly for him in his on the athletic side, not to fear that pitch coming in. Don't jump out of the way in the batter's box. So that's always stuck with him, and he's always always said it. But for both of them, I'll say two things. One, in both of their phones, I typed in a long time ago in their calendar at 7 a.m. every day. It just says, "Have a beautiful day." So their first notification on their phone will just pop up and say, "Have a beautiful day," just for them to start off positive. And they never really said anything about it to me, but last year, and I don't know if it was again Father's Day or my birthday card, but they both mentioned it in the card that they really appreciated me putting that in there, and it helps them start on a positive day.
That's really cool.
Yeah, just the mindset. And other than that, advice to give everybody, to quote Spike Lee, is just always do the right thing.
Always do the right thing. I've heard you've talked about that in past shows, Oliver. I remember that one. Sure. But do you, Tom?
Yeah, it's funny. I think, as they were growing up, it was more getting them to stick to whatever they started type things. It was you join a football team or a baseball team or whatever, and you might not be happy through the season, but you're going to finish the season because your team depends on you type stuff. And again, I think that worked at that time, and I think they both have really well stuck to those things and their work ethic. But today, kids, I think, are just way more stressed than I ever was as a child. You know what I mean? Like, the different things in the world going on, whatever, kids seem to worry more about things. And so I really try and tell them that to not stress about things that are not in your control. Like, they tend to worry more about world problems and things. And I'm just like, listen, you can go your whole life, you can stress about it, but if you have no control over it, you can only control the things that you can control. So focus on the things you can control, focus on the things that you are doing, and not so much about what's happening in the world today, and life will become a lot easier for you. And I think they've both been very focused on their paths and what they're doing, and they tend to be very less stressed than from what I hear from a lot of other parents anyway.
Yeah, that's so important right now too. With even after COVID, just all the social media and the phone, and they're hooked on it. And that mental, that mental strength is so important.
Yeah.
Let me quote the great Jimmy Buffett: is breathe in, breathe out, move on.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. Awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much again for a wonderful Father's Day show. I've really, again, for another year, really enjoyed it. Thank you again for your time. I recognize how late this is. Tom, you're jet lagged just like I am, but Oliver, you work your tail off too, so I know you're tired. You said you were we're planning on taking a power nap. I don't think it ever happened for you, but this is time that you take away from your families, and it means a lot to me for you all to sit down with me for a few hours at the end of a hard week, and have a great conversation, and to celebrate our kids and what makes us dads, and celebrate Father's Day each year. So thank you so much for the opportunity, gentlemen. I look forward to seeing both y'all at the PCHH show here in a couple weeks. It'll be a good time, and I think we've already got our appointment booked with you, Oliver. So that signed, sealed, and delivered. So we'll make sure to hook that up with you too, Tom. We'll figure that out.
You got it. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, and listen, it's always it's a pleasure to be on, and we get to talk about our kids and their growth, and yours are younger, and so hopefully in the future shows we'll be learning how your kids develop in their accomplishments, and where their likes take them to, where they develop. So I look forward to that.
Yeah. My youngest got a perfect score on his developmental tests. Apparently his teacher has been doing this. She's been doing this for like 9 years, and it's the first perfect score she's ever given. So I'll take that all day long.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I got to say, I envy you there, because you can capture these moments a little more easily than we were able to in the past. I mean, it's on your phone, whereas before we had to take a picture and print it out, and then it's in an album if we took the time, or it was on a digital camera, and then you got to upload that to your computer, and you got to store it somewhere, and capture the special moments. And I'll kind of jump on what you were saying, Tom. I appreciate you, Bear, for bringing us on and making this an annual thing. And we're not, it's a great conversation, for us to have and to share our personal lives with, with everyone out there as opposed to just the cigar side. So I appreciate you giving us that forum, and it's always fun just, having this Sunday night together.
Sure. All right. Well, gentlemen, that will cap us off for another great evening and another great Father's Day. It's not Father's Day any longer for either one of you. But I appreciate.
Thanks, Bear. Back to work, huh?
Back to work. Back to work. So we'll get you guys get some rest, and the rest of our audience for staying up late with us. We always appreciate you. Thanks for all your likes, shares, and comments. Keep them coming. Check out our YouTube channel, which is Lazuka of Fumar. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I know I've taken a brief sabbatical the last 2 weeks with no shows, but you can always catch our show here on Facebook Live every Sunday night, right here at 9:30 p.m. Central. Don't forget to hit the like and follow button on our Lazuka Fumar page on Facebook. If you are listening to us later, wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts, including iHeartRadio, don't forget to hit the download, subscribe, and review button. If you already are a subscriber, do me a favor, hit unsubscribe, but don't forget to hit resubscribe. That helps my numbers and allows me to bring back great guests like the two fine gentlemen this evening, Mr. Tom Lazuka and Mr. Oliver Nivaud of Asylum and United Cigar Group. We do really appreciate it, everyone out there. As always, I'm Bear Duplessis, live from the Alec Bradley Lone Star Studios of Azle, Texas. Guess what, everybody? See you next time.